National Area Warning. The following message is transmitted at the request of the United States government, the Mexican government, the government of South Africa, the government of the People's Republic of China, and the United Nations. Date, July 29, 2022. Time, 12:21 p.m. Greenwich. This is a national area warning for countries that have been experiencing a sudden increase in protest activity, including, but not limited to, the United States, Mexico, Africa, and China. If you live, or are anywhere near the vicinity of the recent protest gatherings, it is recommended that you either stay in your homes, or as far away from the areas they are located in. If you need to go outside, make it absolutely clear to law enforcement that you are not part of the activity, and comply with their requests. For the past few weeks, a few countries across the world have been experiencing an uproar in public demonstrations, either through arguments amongst multiple groups or organizations, or by people speaking out against their governments. While these scenarios started off mostly peaceful when they began in Africa and China, well, over time, some have developed into slightly aggressive and sometimes dangerous situations. Law enforcement in the respective areas have been closely monitoring and taking necessary action to mitigate these situations from escalating further. While there haven't been any incidents with the general public so far, local authorities do not wish to risk the possibility. At this time, it is not recommended that you join the protest gatherings, but if you are planning to do so, stay as far away from the larger crowds or any aggressive activity, or else you are likely to put yourself in danger, or be arrested by local or national law enforcement. The free world deserves the right to speak, but it is important to keep things peaceful, so these situations don't worsen. To those uninvolved with these protests, it's important to remain calm. There is no immediate emergency at this time, but even in the event of escalation, your governments will work to keep you all safe. Stay tuned to your local news outlets for any updates on these extraordinary times, and please remember to stay safe. Global Civil Danger Warning. The following message is transmitted on behalf of the United Nations. Date, August 16, 2022. Time, 1:15 p.m. Greenwich. This is a civil danger warning for countries that have been experiencing a sudden increase in aggressive activity, including, but not limited to, the United States, Mexico, the United Kingdom, Africa, Russia, and China. If you live, or are anywhere near the vicinity of the protest gatherings, it is highly recommended that you either stay in your homes, or as far away from the areas they are located in. Do not join any of the protests at this time. Joining the protests may not only put you in danger, but you may also be inclined to initiate the same activities, which may result in you being arrested by local or national law enforcement. In the past month, the world has seen an influx of voices spoken, outrage, and even aggressive revolts. The recent protests have exceeded beyond the expectations set 2 weeks prior to the day, so much so that many have evolved into riot-like gatherings. Many people in the crowds have not only resorted to violent acts against law enforcement but also, jarringly, continue to do so amongst themselves. While the majority of these gatherings are initiated by members of the general public, there have been a few that are led by political figures as well, regardless of party affiliations. Even political figures that have made logically sound points of discussion in the past have made the shift to discuss confusingly unfounded issues, including, but not limited to, oppression, disbelief in climate change, denial of rights, and even power transition interference. We still don't have a clear answer as to why this has become so widespread, but after a thorough investigation of a few arrested protesters, a few aligning details from our lead psychologists across the world, and we will share the extent of our knowledge on this predicament. While the act of protesting in itself is within the rights of all who live in the free world, these people are not only as far from peaceful as they could possibly be, but many reports and analysis indicate a noticeable and highly unusual change in their behavior, which we will refer to as Primality. This mental psyche involves the gradual degradation of the human mind in their major cognitive abilities, with symptoms including, but not limited to, struggle or inability to perceive cognitive thoughts and produce, or recall extensive memories including sense of self, and highly aggressive and irrational behavior, that may result in unlawful misconduct and/or non-discriminative violent tendencies. While the full extent of those affected by Primality is not known, it is important to take the following precautions during this emergency. If you or anyone you know is experiencing these sudden changes in their behavior, take the initiative to try and calm you or them down. Have the Primality affected person sit and practice basic breathing exercises. Have them breathe in slowly through their nose and hold their breath for about 10 to 15 seconds before slowly breathing out. If this does not work, try to release any tension in the body by clenching the muscles from head to toe in the midst of the breathing exercise before releasing them upon breathing out. If this still does not succeed in you, or they are unable to keep the symptoms of Primality from progressing, contact your local authorities, and they will extract the affected person as soon as possible. If the person is calmed down, however, have you or they ask themselves personal questions about important parts of their life, or perhaps the reasoning behind this change. If you are speaking with an affected person, make sure to have a comforting tone, to avoid any outburst of frustration or anger, but if they happen to do so anyway, calmly reassure them that you are there to help, and have them perform the breathing exercise again. If you or they start to realize the extent of the changes, make sure the person remains calm and composed. Comfort them as much as you can, and reassure them that they will be okay, as long as they keep a clear head. If they absolutely must let out any anger or frustration, have them do so in a healthy manner, like screaming into a pillow, hitting a punching bag, or any other way, to subvert any aggressive thoughts. Keep the affected person in check, and find ways to distract their minds in the meantime. We are working diligently to find the cause behind this highly unusual emergency, and will keep in touch through local news outlets or the global emergency detail system, if the emergency is dire. Repeating, aggressive behavior is progressing across the world, and it is highly recommended you do not join any of the protests showing signs of it. Stay in your homes, or as far away from any active protests, and keep a lookout for any signs of Primality, whether it be you or someone you know. Please stay safe.